Cruising the Iowa Plains in the OG Suburban. Let's build something. Hello and welcome to the Stover Farm channel. I'm so glad to have you here with us for this week's speed build. We find ourselves in Iowa on a map that's a little older. It's Iowa Plains View by Celobuki. And well, while this map may be older, it's one that I've really enjoyed when I was playing it. In fact, I remember turning this corner right here by the train tracks, going down the hill into this little valley and going, this would be an interesting area for a nice, smaller farm. But I never was able to sell the house. I think it was because I didn't realize that you actually had to buy the house, and it has its own little plot, which is 32. Sometimes I'm not very smart, but this is where we're at. Lower right-hand corner of the map. You can see the town in the upper left-hand corner, and we've bought fields 30, 31, 32, 28, 34, plus the road, which is very cool. Now, with Alma out, I can understand why you might overlook a map like this, but I'll tell you what, this map has some very similar characteristics to Alma, the first being the nice ditches along the road. I always love to see that. Undulations in the land. It's not just flat, it actually feels real, and there's something really to be said about that. It can just give you a far more pleasant experience, a realistic experience. The aesthetics of the map are really quite nice. While the map might be older, the mod that really caught my attention is fairly new. In fact, it just came out. It's called the Old School Freestyle by Pleasant View Farms. And let's take a look at it. It's in the animals area. There it is. Old School Freestyle, $135,000. And what really is cool about this, again, it's old school. It's got a milking parlor in the center. It's got a hayloft up top. When I place it, I'm not going to place it yet, but you'll see that there's these nice grooved concrete areas for the animals to walk on. And yeah, all the manure builds up there. You've got to muck that out. It just feels right for the area. And I might add a few other, placeable items that are specific to Iowa Plains View. So enough talking. We're going to turn this into this. And I've only got 60 minutes to do it. I'm also recording this live to tape, so if I make a mistake, I make a mistake. You get to experience it along the way with me. And maybe we'll both learn something, or we'll all learn something about creating maps. I enjoy making maps. I think it's fun. It's very relaxing. And I hope you do as well. Okay, here we go. 60 minutes on my stopwatch. I'm pulling out my phone. Come on, phone. There we go, starting right now. Let's put that old school freestyle away, and let's make sure first we own the areas that we need, and we do, okay? We've also got $10 million in the bank. That's perfect. I am running on a PC, so I am using EasyDev. So I can come in here and do certain things like turning on flight mode, turning off the HUD. I can change the time of day. I can add a bunch of money. That's okay, though. Don't worry if you don't have EasyDev. You're on a console. The majority of the builds that I do, you can do on console just because I'm trying to use maps that are all platform, and I really am trying to use mods that are all platform. That freestyle barn, all platform. This map, all platform. You can do this. I know you can. So, let's break this up into 3 phases. I like to build my house first, then I focus on the property, the barns, and then lastly, I'll build and make sure the fields are in good working order. And then, if we have time, I will maybe add some equipment. But I'm wasting time. We're already a minute into it, so let's get back into this. and we've got to delete the house. So delete the house, cell, gone, yes, and look at that. The tree went away. So you do not need to use my delete all items in EasyDev. The tree just goes away on its own. So again, it's very friendly for all platforms. Now, what do I typically do? Well, I like to come into my landscaping, into my painting, and we're going to take a look and see we don't have a ton of paintable textures. That's okay, though. We're still going to put grass down. I'm going to just start with my grass, just cover up areas that I don't want. I don't think I'm going to get rid of this little road because this is really cool. Again, I talked about the terrain in this map, and it really does feel real. And this road takes you down to this, well, right now I think it's wheat. Could be beans. No, I think it's wheat. That's just down from the main farm. Really, really cool feature, and I don't really want to get rid of that. You've got the slope up to the main highway with the guardrails. Just feels nice. I like it. But the house is gone. Where are we going to put the house? I think the house should go over here. So we're going to pretend maybe that I cut out a little section of this field and we add our house. So let's do that right now. So I'm going to come in and we're going to drop down just grass, because if I put my grass down first, it will make it far easier to put the meadow grass on top of it and then put the placeable items. And then I don't have to go back in with a very small brush and paint meadow grass in around all these little small nooks and crannies. Just got it down to begin with, and we'll be good to go. So is that big enough yard for a house? I think it is. I'll make it a little bigger, just a touch, right? You never can have too much yard. And I like to have a nice yard on the farm. We might even fence that in. Okay, now let's see what we've got from the mod maker. We don't have a ton. That's okay. You know, some maps, the mod makers do provide a ton of options as far as plants, different types of grass, different types of plants, different types of paintable textures. We don't have all that in this one, and, well, that's okay. We're just going to deal with it. Yes, if you are on a PC or a Mac, you can add those after the fact, but we don't have that option right now. I'm just not going to do it. So we're going to use what we have. And while I'm doing this, I'm thinking about what type of house I want to put down. You know, the go-to for me is usually the Elk Mountain Ranch, and I'm just not going to do it this time. Elk Mountain Ranch is very, very cool, but it's not all platforms. So I think I'm going to come in here to buildings, farmhouses, and I might go with... I might use just this old school American Farm Buildings pack. We're not going to be able to go inside. We could use OKU's Mods American Farmhouse, but that's kind of a smaller house. I want the more traditional... Yeah, I think this is what we're going to do. So we're just going to put this out. This will be... That's the front, right? Yeah, that's the front. So I think we're going to put this as the house. Maybe do we turn it a little bit? No. Let's do this. Okay, this will be kind of a sideways house here. Again, I'm doing this, we're doing this together. So whatever's just coming to mind, I am making happen. Now let's take a look here. So we had some terrain changes, and that can be a problem, but it's not going to be for us because we're going to come into landscaping. We're going to choose our softening tool. We're just going to soften this up. We can increase the strength of it by hitting the L key. Again, I apologize. I do not know what it is for having a game console controller, but for a mouse and keyboard, it is L. I've increased the strength of the softening. And because it does jut out a little bit right there, I think I'm going to come into our leveling tool, and I'm going to come right about here, and I'm going to bring this out just a little bit at the same level. The reason I'm doing this is I want the area that I'm got the house on to not have, like, this right here. I want to be able to come in and smooth this, but if I have it too close to the foundation, the smoothing might actually go up under the foundation, and it will not look right. So now that I've got this out a little bit, again, using that, the leveling tool, I can come back in with my softening tool, and it will soften up really nicely and just kind of be far more uniform. Like that. And one thing I want to ask, if there's anything that I'm doing or using, or a technique, or potentially a problem that you're running into when you're building a map, feel free to, ask a question. Put it down in the comments. I'm happy to try and answer your question. I might not have the answer to your question, but I can certainly, research it. Or there may be someone that's, really, really knowledgeable on this, and they can answer the question for you. So, mods, techniques, whatnot, it's a community, right? This is the great thing about a simulator type game, is there's a huge community of modders and map makers, and they probably can answer your question. So this particular house has been available, I think might have even been one of the first few mods that came out for the game. It was nice to just finally get a different house available. You can't go inside, which is a little unfortunate. The benefit of that, though, is the slot count is very, very low for console players. The file size is very, very low, and it looks like that traditional farmhouse, which I do like. More modern houses that are out now, mod makers have done interiors, which is really, really nice. But, you work with what you've got. Okay. So you can see we put that house on a fairly unlevel ground, but because of the smoothing that we used, it's actually fairly level now. It looks pretty good. We've got to get to our house, and I don't want to have the driveway over here off this road because the entryway to the farm is here. So I think I want to come in and I want to bring up this here. So we've got this, ditch, fairly steep ditch. We're going to bring some leveling in here. So we're going to go back into landscaping, into sculpting. I'm going to use the leveling tool, and I'm more than likely going to come from this angle over. It doesn't really matter, though, so we're going to maybe make that a little larger, and we're just going to run it across the ditch, like that. And everywhere you touch and hold down your mouse, the terrain around you that you're moving around with your brush is going to raise or lower to that very same plane. So you can see now, and actually if I come in here to painting, and maybe I just paint some grass in here, you'll see this a little better, but we now have a little land bridge right there where there was this huge dip. Now we can come into the landscaping tool with the softening brush, and we can now bring this down for our driveway. And if you want to, lower it a little more, you can. We can come in here to the raise and lower tool. We can make our strength very, very light. And we can just kind of softly, change some of the terrain here to bring that down so it's a little more level with the driveway that's coming in off the road. Then come back over to our softening tool, maybe increase the strength here, And now we've got a little less of a bump. We might need to actually change the size of our tool to the square tool. And I'm just going to tap that. Now I'm going to come back to our, probably the leveling tool, and just level this out. Then back to the softening tool and soften this up a little bit. And I don't want to spend too much time on this because, again, we're on the clock. But, you know, as you're making maps, this is when you have more time, something you really spend some time on and really create something kind of cool. A little sculpted driveway through the land right there. So now, let's kind of finish this out. Let's come into painting. Let's just make it now, you know what? We're high rollers. Let's make it concrete. So we'll come in here and we'll make this concrete. This. And I think we're going to put a garage straight on. So you would come back here, you would hit the garage straight on. Like that. Maybe just a little bit of gravel coming off the front steps. There we go. And then maybe around the house, we're going to come in with just a touch of forest ground. Just to do some landscaping around the house. There we go. Getting in my thinking mode, my mind slowing down a little bit, looking for details. There we go. Okay. All right. Sometimes you have to slow down a little bit. Just, you know, let your mind go. Build something you think's kind of fun. If you mess up, you mess up, right? It happens. I do wish there was a undo feature in the game. That would be kind of nice because there have been times where I've done something and been like, oh crap, I like almost might instinctively go for like Command Z, thinking I can, you know, undo that, and it does not do that. Maybe in a future version of the game, like Farm Sim 28. So I have a mod. I just realized I have a mod that allows you to. So we're slightly touching the house right there, and traditionally you would not be able to put the fencing down, but I've got a mod that allows you to actually still put a fence down. We're going to make this just kind of a very basic, not a whole lot of contour to that over there. Maybe a little more over here. Run that up to there. Around. I feel like I'm taking more time on this. I'm a little worried to look at the clock. Why didn't that go? There we go. Okay, let's see what type of plants the modern... Okay, we've got normal plants, so we can come in here with some plants. You know, it's always nice just to throw a little bit of this down. Kid left his bicycle out. Oh, see, like right there. Okay, I messed up. I went outside the lines. I can't control delete it, but fortunately I can just come back in with meadow grass and repaint over that. But when you're actually putting stuff down, like you accidentally place a placeable on the ground in the wrong spot or in a spot that you don't want it to be in, then you're like, crap, what did I do? Alright, we need to find a garage. So let's look in buildings. What type of garage do we want to put in here? Like that. That'd be good. Mod made it stutter there for a little bit. Did you see that? Mods do that. Let's see here. This is going to definitely trip out the curves in the ground, so I might preemptively come in here to landscaping and flatten this area. I know it's going to do it. We'll do that, come back into buildings, find that garage. There it is. I'd find the right color. That's it. Yeah, you can see it really was going to trip out. And it did a little bit. It got us over here. That's okay. Landscaping, back over into sculpting. Softening, I think we can probably soften this up. No issues. What's everyone playing on right now? Haven't had a lot of mods recently. I know it's been kind of a dry spell for mods, but you know, we got Alma not long ago. We've had a few mods. I think there's a DLC coming out next week. You know, I'm still working on Meadowlands, Wisconsin, farming the entire map. I've got that series out. Hope you're able to stop by and check it out, where we've got No Man's Land that we've turned into our own version of Wisconsin. And we're farming the entire map. Got almost 1,000 acres of arable and pasture land. And I think it's kind of a cool concept. Some, you know, content creators do, like, buy the map or own the map challenges. I thought, what if we do an actual, like, farm the map challenge? That's what we're doing. Farming the entire map, seeing if it's doable in, like, the hardest settings possible. Alright, I gotta check the clock. Where are we at? I am showing 20 minutes in. That's okay. So, you know, we break it up into thirds, we'll be fine. I don't think the fields are going to take a ton of time. So, we spend 20-25 minutes on the house, 20-25 minutes on the buildings over on the farm. We're going to be in, I think, just fine shape. Alright, we need to just finish out some of these little details here. A little more concrete down. And meadow grass for here. Nice. Now, you'll have to, you know, decide if you're doing a map like this, Do you like some of these contours? Is it too much for you? Like, that looks a little sharp there for me. I might come into the sculpting tool in the softening area and just soften that a little bit. Right there, just a little bit. Nothing too crazy. And then I do want to put a fence up. So let's come into decorations. Let's just choose the good old wooden fence. And we are going to we own all the way up to here. So let's go ahead and block out this section for our house. You know, maybe in the future we want to get some horses. We could. Here's a trick if you want to have your fence match on both sides. Just run your fence through your driveway. It's totally fine. And then go back in and delete it. Delete the area that you don't want. So that. Let's run this here. So then come back in here, go to your demolish, delete what you don't want, and now it's, you know, fairly nice right there. You could put a gate in. There are some gate options that you can download. Let's see if we've got anything in here that'll work. Or that I like. It's pretty highfalutin. What does that look like? Ooh, fancy. Let's see if this will work. Okay, let's put this... It's overlapping with that, so I might have to come back here a little bit where it's flat. Drop that so you can see it altered the terrain. That's fine. Whenever you alter terrain with a fence, if the fence goes off the ground, just delete it or click on it. It will pop back into place. Landscaping, let's soften this a little bit. And then we'll take our fence, and instead of just running it, we'll just, like this, straight, we'll just bring it up right to the edge there and drop that down. It's about perfect. And again, I'm using that mod that allows you to place a fence basically everywhere. Now, we've got to be accurate here, so I'm going to come into Decorations, Other. There is a pipe that you can add there. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? There it is. We've got to have this. Don't want this to look wrong. So we have proper drainage. Flip this around. And then it got rid of our grass up top. We'll just add the grass back, and there we go. Now, we're just about done with the house. I do think we need a barn. So let's put a building in. Maybe an older style barn. Because, you know, we'd have tractors. We still have to, like, maintain the property. Let's see if I've got anything in here that I like. There are some specific placeable items for Iowa Plainsview, which is nice. And then there's also some old-time... That's new. Where'd I get that? Old-time shed pack. I wonder if that came with the old-school freestyle. I don't think it did, though. I don't recognize those. Where did those come from? Might have been another mod I downloaded. Ha! Okay. There's one barn in particular that I like. Right here. This barn just has some character to it. It doesn't look right for this. You know... let's do this. That's way too big. Way too big. Let me back up. Slow down, Stover. Let's put some trees down first, and then let's see if we still feel like we need to have a barn. So let's grab some elms. Maybe if I put a couple elms around. might not be so insistent on needing a massive barn. That's better. So I think we could probably come in with something a little smaller. The asset management in this game can be pretty difficult sometimes. What is that? It's an Iowa Plainsview barn. Can I change the color? No, I can't. I like that little barn, though. What is that? It's way too big. I'm going to leave a barn out, I think. I don't want to waste time there, but I don't feel like we need it. We can store the tractor in the garage. So, all right. House is done. There's our property over on that side of the road. We've now got to get our barns over here. So, I want to put alfalfa grass down first. And I'm going to check and see what field we're on. I got to remember that. That is field 19. So we're going to come into Easy Dev, and I'm going to go to the field set fruit feature. And for 19, we are going to add alfalfa. And I believe if I go this way, it's quicker. And we're going to have this ready to harvest too. There we go. I forgot alfalfa has those, like, huge... Maybe I don't want it that high. Set field fruit, 19. Let's do a growing stage. There we go. That's lower. That feels better to me. Okay. It's not going to be that big, but I want to already have the field fruit set because I'm going to be putting placeables over this, and you can't really go back in and reset your field fruit once you've got placeables on top of it, because your placeables end up getting the field fruit around them, and it's not fun. Okay, so we come in here, and I want to put this animal shed down first. So this old school freestyle barn. And I want to put it in a way that would work. You know what I'm going to do? Stand by. I'm going to take this other Iowa Plainsview. This is a massive cow barn that comes pre-installed with Iowa Plainsview. And I love it because it's got a great pasture in it. And you can put it down first. Let's put it right there. Okay. Then I'm going to take this freestyle. We're going to double up on a mod here. We're going to put two mods together. And that's going to be really, really cool because they look perfect together. The right color, everything. So now I'm going to come in here like this. And put that about right there. That is perfect. Okay. What I'm going for in my mind is kind of the tight, not a very open area. Like, it's tight. You've got smaller equipment that you've got to drive. Might even throw some harvesters right along in here where you'd pull up and yeah, let's do that, actually. So let's go into productions. Let's do... Is it in factories? I think they're in silos, actually. Yeah, here they are. American Fermenting Silo. let's put a couple of these in here. And we've got to make it so you can still come in. My idea is you could drive the tractor under and you can get, or the feed wagon under, and you can get your feed, but you can still dump into the harvestor. And I'm probably going to have to turn off my V key because I'm going to have to just force it to place here. There we go. Let's put another one down. Just like that. And that's okay. I kind of went into the barn a little bit. I think some harvestors actually are built that way, and you can actually pull silage or whatever you've got in them out through the barn, which is kind of cool. All right, let me go into landscaping. We're going to need to smooth a lot of this stuff out. And you can see where the pasture cut out the alfalfa, which is totally fine. We're going to make this nice and soft here. And this will be a great example of how you fix a fence. Let's check our time, folks. 33 minutes. We're doing... This is great. This is great. Sorry, I got a little nice sipper here that I've got for this build. I think Clutch would call those a little brown water. Hey, it's a Friday night, right? Let's enjoy the time together. Soften that up a little bit. I don't like what it did there. But I'm just not going to go any further with it. You can see what I was talking about. So if you soften too much along foundations, you can actually take the top layer down too far. And I don't like that. That's the... in fact, I think I did it right there. Yeah, I did. So you can see where that gravel should be level with the ground. We can fix this, though, by coming in here to the raising tool. And I'm just going to make it very, very small. And I'm going to raise this up to a point where it's almost taller than that. Another way to do this would be to go into the leveling tool and get something that is right level with where you want it to be, and then hit your leveling. And it will level it out. But it is proving to be a little difficult. And you see it actually got into my silage, or my slurry pit there. I don't want that, so I'm going to bring that down. This is what happens, you know, again, when we are kind of playing around with two different types of mods here. These mods were never intended for each other. We're going to make it work. Now, back over to the softening tool. Just soften that a little bit. That is a little better. There we go. Okay. I want to go into my painting, and I'm going to put down some just mud. I don't have a ton of options for paint. I think if I were able to go into this map, I would probably add some textures into Game Editor, or into the XML, or into the folder of the XML, because I like to have more textures to work with. And it's frustrating me. Let's do kind of a perimeter of grass here, because you can still see right there. That's going to bug the heck out of me. So let's put some grass down. And let's do some grass here. I want like a little driveway through here. And there would probably be grass, you know, just kind of poking up here around these fences. I did find I was in Iowa for almost a week, and that's what I found really interesting was there's like shrubs and grass and weeds everywhere. It grows everywhere. And it actually really helped me as I was building maps, because I came back and realized that you just don't have this perfect, clean, like, golf-type grass. It's got weeds in it, because it grows everywhere. Okay, let's put some meadow grass in here. And this is going to potentially help that as well right there, which it did. So just painting meadow grass around. And this can be very time consuming. But I do think it adds detail to a map, instead of just having, like, all dirt in one area. Yeah, and then let's come in. Let's grab some of this placeable bush and, you know, put just some of these around. It's going to help that right there as well. And if we had more time, you know, you could put, like, junk and garbage down, or things for the farm, like placeable things. And you could even come into painting and put some forest ground in here to make it seem like there's some silage that is spilled. That there's probably going to be animal mud, like, mixed in here. This is probably going to be all, like, mixtures of animal mud. So is this. And it doesn't need to be completely uniform. There we go. Let's grab meadow grass. I did see an interesting mod. It was a texture or a grass mod that a mod maker had made. It was different colors. Looked to be like different styles of grass, which I thought was really cool. I need to research that. Looked like it had some dormant grass that was, you know, in kind of a yellowish hue. It's really nice. Go. Now, all of this needs to be grass. So this would be the field. So let me come to my painting. Let's take grass. And I'm going to just cut this right here. Okay, there's that. Back to meadow grass. It's not letting me paint right there, and that's just, there's something in that mob that's not allowing me to get over there. So to get grass painted, you've got to increase the size of your brush, and then you can just use the outskirts of that brush to make that work. And this would be all grass. And I don't know what shows up there. I don't know why. So the mod did that. The placeable cut out that alfalfa. I don't know if something spawns there. Manure, maybe? I don't think so, though. Maybe it's an area that you can put, like, a manure extension. Possibly? I don't know. So I'm coming in here. I don't like to leave areas that are just painted. I like to come in and actually put down meadow grass or some other type of plant. And this we've got to paint. There we go. Back into plants. Meadow grass. And we are going to do kind of that pattern in the grass where the animals walk around. And I actually found it really interesting. They do that in real life. It was in Iowa, and I looked down, and the folks that I was there seeing, the farm owners, said, "Hey, could you go out and check the watering hole?" They had an area that was a small pond. I said, "Well, which one do you want me to go to?" And they said, "Well, just follow the tracks on the ground." And I looked down, and sure enough, it was this, like, cleaned out areas, like just these perfect tracks. And I thought they were like tile markers where they'd come in and added tile. No, it was where the cows had walked to get to the watering hole. They all just follow that same path. I thought it was really, really cool. So let's do that now. So let's come in here to painting. Animal mud. And maybe they kind of would congregate there. They might congregate here. And congregate over here. And there. And here. A little bit there. Maybe down here. And then I'll make my brush a little larger. I'm still in that square brush. And then they walked like that. And then maybe they were like, I want to come over here. And they walked around like that. And like that. And then they might have congregated a little there. There. You can really do whatever suits you. No right or wrong here. Over to there. And then this might be just really... One thing you can do is just take your brush, go to a small size, and just run it around very quickly. And it will just paint these little splotches that are just a little more realistic. And then let's put a couple of little just bushes in here. Along the fence line. And look at that. This farm has really come together. I was actually really worried like 20 minutes ago thinking, oh my gosh, am I going to fail on this? But look at that. That's actually starting to really come together. A really cool farm. I love seeing the harvest doors as you come up a road. We're not done yet. We're not done yet because we still got time. Do we have time? Let's check the time. 47 minutes into this build, ladies and gentlemen. We've got time. We need to figure out... So, we're missing a barn. Like, we're missing equipment. This is our drive area right here. So, we would need to connect these. Let's come back into landscaping, painting. Maybe it turns to gravel right here. There's that little thing right there. So that is the animal. No, that's the trigger probably to dump, I would think. Yeah, probably straw. I think because there's the loft up there. So I think maybe that's where you dump straw. But it is definitely not letting me paint if I get too close to that. And traditionally, you know, I would hope that there would be another style of gravel that I could use to make some a little texture in here, but I just don't have it. So what I'll probably do is I'll come to dirt and I'll just sprinkle some dirt in here so that it's not a clean cut, like where it becomes the gravel, and sprinkle that around as there a little bit, and then maybe make a little border edge of just some dirt. Mess up the grass a little right there. Same over here. So we've got that's a slurry pit. That's where you get your milk. I think these open. Let's take a look. Do they? Did none of these open? Yeah, there we go. Okay. So yeah, we've got to make some, an area at least. Right here. Let's do that in just dirt. So... that. Maybe a few more little just splotches of dirt in there with maybe just a little bit of mud. And then conversely, maybe a little bit of gravel, like just up in here where we've tried to fill some holes, maybe. It feels right. Excellent. Now, we've got a white fence there. So I want to probably stay with the white fence. So I think I'll come off of here. Like that. And I would like to also have... So we've got entryways into that pasture. I would want to get out to this field. So I would probably come in with a fence there. Did I double fence that? I think I did. What in the world did it do right there? Yeah, put 2 down. Okay. Come off of that to about here. I don't like to completely fence in my fields because it gets very difficult to get equipment in there. So maybe just like right there, and then let's put a generator of, yeah, let's do this. Let's put something like this here. Okay. A couple of trees. And paint a little just forest ground down around these trees. Nice. Now, okay, we've got to figure something very, very important out here. We've got exactly 10 minutes to do it. We don't have a barn for any equipment, and I think that's going to go right over here. So let's stay in the same... Yes. I know what we're going to do. We're going to end up deleting a fence. See, this is what happens. Sometimes you put some things down and you have to delete some things. I'm going to find a barn that I like. I might stay in the red barn pack. I might not. We'll see. But probably... Well, I don't know. I'm thinking... We need something that's big enough for equipment. Ooh. I could revisit this idea. Yeah, okay, let's do that. Can I change the color? I can. Okay. Well, I kind of like the color it was, but that's... I think that's... Yeah. Ooh, that's perfect right there. Okay. So let's drop this right there. Come in and I'm going to demo this fence. If it lets me. This was being problematic earlier. Why aren't you letting me demo that fence? Come on. Okay. Not a problem. Not a problem. I have an idea. Okay, let's take this. I'm gonna do some painting. And I'll do this. Maybe, just maybe, if this wasn't alfalfa, this was maybe planted another year as just grass, or we let it, kind of grow on its own, and maybe we wanted to let the animals graze. we would need a way to get them out there through some fences. So this gets demoed. And oh, you know what I'm going to do? This is what I'm going to do. Hold on. I got an idea. I'm going to just turn this like that. And then this is going to be a little chute to there. And maybe after we got done with the super expensive white painted fence, we would shift over to a far more, I guess, cost-friendly fence, like this. And this could be, you know, something for our cows grazing along our property. We'll just run it all the way down here. And connect right there. Now we have the entire property. You know what we could even do? No, you wouldn't be able to drive through. Well, you could. We could demo and put a gate in. And maybe, just maybe, this is a little area that you can, I don't know, run it side by side down, check out the fields. Just like that. Now, I want to do a little bit of planting around the exterior of this barn. Starting to be crunch time here, folks. Okay. Let's grab our gravel. Yeah, this is where I'd love to have different shades of gravel. But we don't. We don't have it. That's okay. All I'm just doing here is just adding a little, making it imperfect, making it not like just perfect 90-degree angles. I want it to actually look like a farm. Let me dump a little animal mud. So this would be a chute that animals could walk down. This would be a nasty mess of mud. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Now, I still feel like we need to put something over here. Maybe another building. Commodity shed, maybe. Too big. Too big. Too big. Too big. Way too big. Come on, Stover. Figure this out. Oh, you know what we could do? Okay. We don't have we don't have like an area. Yeah, this would work. So I love this shop right here because it allows you to have an area to actually work out of. So it has a nice office in it. That works out really nicely right there. Landscaping, painting. I don't think we're going to get to any equipment on this build because we are almost out of time. But I would envision there's a lot of red. This feels like a case farm, a red farm to me. Could be wrong. And I'm thinking like older Magnums. Maybe some older quad tracks. Although you really don't need a quad track for this. Now, maybe just a Magnum. Maybe a 1650 axial flow combine. That would work great. And here you have it, folks. The 1-hour speed build on Iowa Plains View with really started with just this old school freestyle barn being my inspiration for it. And let's walk in here real fast. This is, again, a very cool mod. Milking capture there. Takes you into the milking parlor. Very, very cool. You can see where some of the terrain popped up in there. That's okay, though. I'm told that the animals actually do populate in here when you have them at early morning hours and late morning hours, feeding hours. I'm stuck. There we go. Really cool texture on this concrete ground. This would be where you'd have to come in and muck out the cows. You know what this reminds me of? I mentioned there's a YouTuber that I really, really love watching. His name is Kip Siegler. Kip Siegler has a very, very similar setup to this on his farm with the harvestors. And it just looks like this. So again, a very, very cool mod. This is all platform. And this is from Pleasant View Farms. And then we just threw down this large barn with the pasture that is part of the Iowa Plains View map to make this beautiful small to medium-sized cow farm. This was a tough one. I actually got a little nervous there about 30 minutes in, thinking I'm not going to make it, but I think it turned out pretty well. I might have gone over by a few minutes on the 60-minute time limit, but I hope this is going to give you some inspiration on a cow farm that you could build on the Iowa Plains View in the little section of land on the southeast corner, the lower bottom right corner of the map. Thank you so much once again for joining us. We'll see you next time right here on the farm with the Stovers.